Martin Truex dominates. We'll look at a few drivers on some hot streaks right now, and we'll see what's up with the paint schemes this year. All that and more coming up next on the recap. So, Martin Truex dominates. He wins all three stages and led 260 or 270 laps. He closes Denny Hamlin's sizable points lead down to about maybe 75 or so. But other than that, not much really to report. There was good racing throughout the field, but nobody really had anything for Truex. He basically dominated this race. So not really much more I can say about that. So since we don't have much to talk about as far as the race itself, let's talk about some guys that are on some absolute hot streaks right now. First off, Denny Hamlin has won. He hasn't won a race yet, but he has finished in the top 5 9 out of 12 times. That is absolutely impressive. And even though he hasn't won a race, he has a 75-point lead, like I mentioned earlier, over the next closest guy, 3-time race winner, Martin Truex. So think about how awesome of a performance that is. If this was the old Winston Cup points, Denny Hamlin would absolutely be killing it right now. Hasn't won a race and still has a massive lead under the current point system. Of course, none of that matters because the playoffs are going to be reset, but still impressive nonetheless, and I'm pretty sure Denny will get a win before it's all said and done. Next guy I want to talk about here is William Byron. William Byron is currently on a 10-race top 10 streak. This is pretty insane. Hendrick Motorsports has not seen a streak like this since, I think, 2007 with Jeff Gordon and the old DuPont team. So William Byron won a race earlier and locked himself into the playoffs and is on an absolute tear right now, like 10 straight top 10s. That's really awesome. So that team is on fire right now. And the other team I want to talk about that sort of came out of nowhere because they had a terrible start to the season, Tyler Reddick. At one point this season, Tyler Reddick was 28th in points, having an abysmal season, several DNFs. I think 4 out of his first 6 races, if I'm not mistaken, he had DNFs. So they got off to a terrible start, but as it sits right now, that team has turned things around, and Tyler Reddick, if the season ended right now, would be the last man into the playoffs. So an amazing turnaround for that team as of late. Tyler Reddick sitting 16th in points, last man in right now. So that's pretty impressive. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the paint schemes this year. Some of the paint schemes this year, including Martin Truex's, were absolutely terrible, but there is a reason for that. This race was sort of announced late, and because Darlington is now a playoff race, Darlington obviously has 2 dates. One of the Darlington dates is a playoff race. This Darlington race got moved earlier into the season, so people didn't have as much time to prepare their paint schemes as they normally would. And that's why you saw a few paint schemes that were absolutely horrid, or just not really a throwback, but they called it a throwback. 2 that come to mind just off the top of my head is Ricky Stenhouse's Tide that was supposedly a throwback to Ricky Craven. That thing was terrible. It wasn't even the right colors. It was almost a reverse. Like the blue was where the orange should be and the yellow was where the white should be. It's not actually a bad looking paint scheme, but it's not a throwback, and that's just sort of disappointing. And Martin Truex was like a half-baked throwback. It was supposed to represent his Furniture Row 78 that he won his championship with, but it was just flat black with the auto dealer's logo on it, and it had nothing to really do with Furniture Row. So I don't know. I wasn't in love with it. But hopefully next year these guys will be on top of it. Martin Truex's effort is kind of like the guy that shows up at a Halloween party with a t-shirt on that says, "Hey, this is my costume." Like least amount of effort I've seen in a long time for a throwback scheme. But that being said, there were some really amazing throwback schemes. The winner of the Throwback Best in Show contest or whatever was Richard Petty with the John Andretti Martinsville win throwback. Check it for Andretti. Some of the other ones that I thought were really cool were all the Alan Kawicki schemes, the 38 of Anthony Alfredo, the 7 of Corey LaJoie, the Xerox car, and of course Chase Elliott's number 9 Hooters. All those absolutely killed it. And there was another, the 00 Starcom. That was a throwback to John Andretti as well when he drove the RCA car. So that was really cool, and all of those guys did a great job. All right, that's all I got for you today. The race wasn't much to report on the race, so this is where we're at. But if you like the content, please subscribe down below. It helps me out a whole lot. And thanks for your time. Peace.